we've got the Rossi R92 lever action carbine. So the Rossi R92 is a low-end lever gun that's available in a number of different pistol cartridges. The R92 is based off of the Winchester 1892 action, the Winchester 1892 being based off of the Winchester 1886 action. The model 1886 was the first Winchester lever gun designed by John Moses Browning. The 86 was designed to fix a lot of the issues that they were having with the previous models, namely that they weren't able to put the full-size rifle cartridges in there. Winchester approached Browning about making a scaled-down version of that 1886. They wanted the newer action on this, the stronger, sturdier action, just available for those smaller cartridges. And so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the markings and features on this and get a little bit of an idea of what's going on with this guy. Well, if we look at the markings here on the side of the barrel, we will see that we have Rossi R92, this one in 38 Special 357 Magnum, made in Brazil by CBC, Breztec International, Bainbridge, Georgia. There's a lot going on here. We've got like 3 different company names going on here. Well, the company that this is made for is Rossi. Rossi is an Italian company. Now, Rossi does own or is owned by the same group that owns Taurus out of Brazil. They also own CBC. So it is CBC in Brazil that has physically made these. All firearms imported into the United States will have the country of origin stamped on it, as well as the city and state of the importer. So that's why we've got the 3 different companies going on there. Now, as we saw on here, this one is in 38 Special and 357 Magnum. That's a very common thing to see because pretty much anything that's chambered in 357 Magnum can, in fact, shoot 38 Special. Now that's all we've got for markings, but we do have some other important things in here. One thing we have on the side of this is the loading gate right here. Goes into the tube magazine right down here. This one here, as you will see, has a safety located on it right there, a little flip safety. Now you know that I went on a pretty good rant about not liking the manual safety on some of the low-end single-action Army reproductions, and I'm generally kind of in the same thought on this one here. I don't know, this might actually could serve a little bit of a purpose. You could be carrying around this with a round in the chamber, and you would be more likely to have the hammer all the way back. There's a number of kits that can get rid of them, so I'm not so worried about those. Of course, we got the good old lever here on this guy. Now I had added this lever wrap on it here. As you can see that this one has the gold trim on it here on the hammer, trigger, the lever, the bands, and the butt plate. The sights on this are pretty basic buckhorn sights. We've got a little gold bead right here at the top of it to help you see it, and the buckhorn sights here, which kind of mimic the old Winchester sights, having the elevator to raise it up. These sights are okay. They're not the best buckhorn sights, really. The only way that you could adjust windage on these would be to drift either the front or the rear sight a little bit. You can adjust the elevation right there. So we can go ahead and delve into the action on this a little bit. We can see that we've got the 2 locking bars right there. These go all the way through right there and right there, and as this is brought down here, you'll see the bars here will pull out the bottom right there as they're attached to that. You'll see the bars move down as we do that. As we run the action here, the bolt moves backwards. If the hammer is forward like that, when you run the action, it will cock it for you there automatically. Seeing here as we run this, as we open it up, the lever will go to a certain point right about there and stop. So you can look in here and you can see the elevator right there that we're on. You can also look here and you can see the green follower there. As we get to this point right here, the lever's got just a tick more to go on it there. And as we push it their last way, if you look inside there and look at that lifter there, you'll see that pop up all the way there. And that will do two things. That will bring up the one from inside the magazine. You'll see that the lifter is blocking the magazine, not allowing any more to come in. And then that will also kick out the other one, which would usually be an empty cartridge or the unfired round, if that's what you have in there. You'll see we'll bring this back, we get right back to here, and once again the lever is, you know, at this spot here where it's not quite closed. If we look at the top here, when we close it all the way, those bars right there lock into place. You can see how they hold it in there on either side of the bolt and the frame there. That is John Moses Browning's big trick right there to make this thing strong enough to hold on to some heavier rounds, which was important for the 1886. Not quite as important for the 92, but it does make it a really strong action and make it hold up for a long time. And so comparing this to some of the other models, some of the other brands that are out there, let me give you a few of the pros and cons of these. As far as the pros, this is going to be the least expensive of all the different lever actions that are out there. The Rossis are going to be a good bit cheaper than your Marlins and your Henrys. This does actually have the loading gate on the side of it there, which the Henrys on most of their smaller pistol caliber stuff there don't. They have to be loaded by removing the magazine out the front and loading them that way. So being able to load it on the side is an advantage. These are actually fairly accurate rifles. They may have to be adjusted to get the point of aim where you want it, but they are very accurate and very reliable even out of the box. But there are a number of downsides to these. First one being that the fit and finish on this just doesn't look quite as nice as the others. The furniture on this just doesn't look as nice as what's on like the Henrys and so forth. You'll see as we get into the shooting section of this is that this shoots a little high. And that's at about 60 feet. If you're wanting to use it stock for really close stuff like that, it's going to shoot kind of high. And the problem with that is that if it's shooting high, the two things you can do is either raise the front sight, which really can't be done here, or lower the rear sight, which also can't be done because we've got it flat all the way down to the bottom. Now there's some aftermarket sights you can put on these, a number of different ones. You can get some taller front sights, which could help with that a bit. You get a whole bunch of different sights here. You get some apertures and what all. I've seen an aperture that can actually replace the safety here, where you can put a tang sight on these, but this does not have the screws for the tang sight. So those would have to be drilled and tapped if you want to put that tang peep sight on there. While this does have the loading gate on it that the Henrys don't have, this loading gate right out of the box is really not pleasant. It is very stiff. You've got sharp edges on here that when you're pushing that hard really tend to shred your thumb up. It kind of feels like you're running against a cheese grater. You know, a lot of tube magazines are not necessarily easy to fill, but this is just really, really hard to load. Now, there are some solutions to that there. I made a video about a solution to it that seems to do a pretty good job, and it basically involves cutting down the magazine tube spring. The 92 action isn't quite as smooth as some of the others. You've got a much more pronounced hiccup on it. You can see the last little bit there. And while they do have that on other models, it's just not as clean and smooth of an action anyway on any 92. The Rossis are pretty decent, but They could be worked over to be made a bit smoother. I find it smooth enough for what I'm doing, but you know, if you're wanting to do like cowboy action shooting with it, you're gonna wanna work it over a good bit. And let's go ahead and see this thing out in action and get a little bit of a look at the shooting footage on it. It shot all of the ammo that I put through it. Now, I was pretty much feeding it Fiocchi, largely because that's what I've got on 38 and 357 right now. This is being shot here in the middle of the pandemic / race riot / election ammunition panic, and there's not a lot of ammo to be found. 357 is pretty pricey when you can find it, and 38 is like just non-existent. So I've just had to shoot out of what I have, which means I haven't put as many rounds through this as I wanted. I'd like to have put several hundred through it, and I just can't do that with what I have available right now. It feeds 38 Special and 357 Magnum, both through it very well. It holds end to tube 12 38 Special or 11 357 Magnum, plus one additional in the chamber. And so what do I think about it overall? I don't know. It's pretty good, but there's just a few, pretty big issues with it right out of the way. The loading gate just being really bad, and the standard sights on it not being all that great. You're looking at like 100 to 130 difference between this and one of the Henrys. Is it worth getting this versus not moving up to the Henry? And I don't know. I felt the Henrys. They really feel good. The furniture on them feels really good. The action on them feel really good. I just got that front loading thing, which is just kind of weird. I don't know how big a deal that really is. I mainly went with this because I was wanting the loading gate, but now I don't know. This is going to end up fine. This is going to end up okay. It takes some work. It's just not going to be perfect right out of the box. So this is honestly like the first review I've done on here where I've been, is it good? You're not wasting your money if you get it, okay? It'll be good. It'll do the job. Is there something that might do it better? Probably. Is it worth spending the extra little bit of money to go ahead and move up to that? Probably, unless you're just really wanting the 1892 action. But if you do get one of these, I think you will end up liking it. It's just going to take a little bit of work to get her there where you want her, but she'll be pretty good for you.
If you found this video useful, be sure to give it a thumbs up and a like. You can go down into the comment section and leave any thoughts you have down there. And if you're interested, you can also subscribe to my channel and click the little bell notification to make sure that you catch all the videos that I post so you don't miss anything. I'm Jeremy with Poindexter G, and we'll see you next time.